What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome back to the channel. This is our fourth YouTube video upload. So we're gonna get right into things. This video is essentially just gonna give you 5 easy tips on how to set up your macros and your diet for whether or not you wanna lose weight or you're trying to gain weight or muscle. Not really gain weight in terms of like gaining fat, but just gaining size or trying to cut down and lose a little bit of weight and tone up. So yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Okay, so just to quickly preface this video, everybody's body is different, and what works for me or what works for the next person is not necessarily going to work for you. So the kind of key takeaways here are to use what I'm telling you as advice, but don't maybe follow it 100%, or try it to start this way, or start this way and use that as like a baseline, and then you can change things as you go. So the first tip is to take your current body weight and multiply it by around 14 to 16, or average it right in the middle of about 15. If you want to, you can average it, or you can kind of test it out and do different variations. So I'd say like as low as 14 and as high as 16. And what this is going to do is calculate your maintenance calories or your maintenance macros. So that's essentially what your body requires each and every day at its current state to maintain your current weight. So for example, right now I am sitting at about 180 pounds. So I'm gonna take 180 and times it by 15, and that's gonna give me 2,700 calories. So that is my maintenance calories. If I wanna maintain my current weight of 180, that's what I'll keep my macros at. So the numbers that I'm using, like 14, 15, and 16, this is not like something that I've just discovered, or this is not something that I'm claiming to necessarily be my own information. This is stuff that you can find all over the internet. But again, the point of this video is just to essentially make an easy way of calculating your macros and setting up your diet to help you with your weight loss or gain goals. So if you think you want to lose weight or you want to cut for the summer and get a little bit more shredded or lean, what I would recommend is taking that maintenance number and subtracting anywhere from about 300 to 500 calories. Now keep in mind that the more aggressive you go on this, the harder it might be. So if you're starting off and you're not used to doing this, I would recommend sticking to maybe around 200 calories less than what your maintenance calories was. On the other hand, if you think you want to gain weight at obviously a rate that is, not too extreme, so you're not going like too much over your maintenance calories because you might put on some unwanted fat, I'd recommend that you add about 200 to 500. So essentially we're just going in the opposite direction of your maintenance calories. So if you want to lose weight, you're going to subtract 200 to 500 calories. And if you want to gain weight, you're going to add 200 to 500 calories. So that's tip number 1. So a lot of nutrition like plans or diets and whatnot that you can find on the internet, they will kind of specify and get into a lot of detail regarding your protein, fats, and carbs. Typically what I like to focus on is just the calorie number, so what we calculated previously, and then the amount of protein. Those are kind of the 2 main things when you're obviously, like, the whole point of this is you're working out and you're trying to stay in shape. So if you're trying to build muscle regardless of whether or not you're losing weight or gaining weight, keep track of your protein and your calories. Don't worry so much about the fats and the carbs. As long as you're eating healthy, I think that those will be fine. And again, you can obviously play around with things and see how your body changes over time. Tip number 2 is going to be taking your body weight and multiplying it by 0.8 to 1.2. And what that's going to give you is your grams of protein for your current body weight. So for example, I am sitting at, like I said, 180 pounds. So I'm gonna take 180 and multiply it by, let's just say to start, 0.8, and that's gonna give me 144 grams of protein for my current body weight. Now, like I said, you're gonna try this and you're gonna see how your body reacts to it. And if you think that you need to add more, then add more. At the high end of what we're calculating here, you're gonna take 180 times 1.2, and that's gonna give you 216. Now, I wouldn't recommend going at the full 216 grams because I don't think it's necessary. I'd say anywhere from 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is more than ideal. So that's step number 2 on how to calculate the protein that you need for your current body weight. So now that we've calculated the amount of calories that you're going to be using or consuming every day, and we've calculated the amount of protein that you're going to have every day, the next thing is to just put it into practice. So this is where it can get a little bit tricky, and one of the things that I've found is in all the videos and stuff that I've kind of watched myself is that everybody's lifestyle is different. So whoever's telling you this information has maybe a different lifestyle than you. So step number 3 or tip number 3 is to figure out how many times that you like to eat per day and try to fit it into your lifestyle. So everybody's lifestyle is different. Everybody's work schedule and everything can be all over the place. So I want you to figure out the ideal number of times that you would like to eat per day according to what works best for you. So this is where meal prepping can come into play. If you're somebody like me that works 5 days a week, sometimes 9 to 5 and sometimes 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., the meal prep really comes into handy because I can just pack my lunches before I go to work and I can eat them whenever I please during the day. If you're somebody that is working from home, then obviously things are maybe a little bit easier to get in during the day, or you don't have to meal prep because you're already at home for the duration of the day. So it's really up to you. Whatever you think works best for you might not be the same for someone else, but at the end of the day, just do what's best for you. All right, so step number 4 is to take the protein target for your daily protein intake and divide it by the number of meals that you've decided to eat. And this is gonna help you essentially split up that number throughout the meals that you're gonna have during the day. One thing to keep in mind for this though is that if you have a higher protein number, and let's just say you're only planning on eating 2 or 3 meals a day, it's probably not gonna be ideal, and you're probably gonna end up falling short on your protein intake and most likely your calorie intake. Or you'll fall short on your protein intake and you might just try to get in a bunch of random calories at the end of the day, which will probably end up resulting in more fat and possibly more calories. It just depends how strict you are with actually tracking those. So for me, what I would do is I would take my, let's just say 180 grams of protein and divide that up by about 3 meals, because I find that what works for me is I'll skip breakfast, I'll eat lunch, I'll eat dinner, and then I like to have a bit of a snack. Sometimes what I'll do is depending on my work day, I'll have a little bit of a later lunch and then a snack before I leave work. I'll go work out, and then after the gym, I'll have my final calories. So if I take my 180 grams of protein and I divide it by 3 meals, that's 60 grams of protein per meal. So that's not that unreasonable, but obviously if I'm having just a snack at some point and a smaller meal, 60 grams is a little bit high. So I might want to take, 20 grams of that 60 and put 10 in each of my other meals. So I'll have 70 and 70 and then 40. I think that's 70, 71, 40. Yeah, another 40 is 180. So that would be tip number 3. So take your total protein, divide it by the number of meals you think you can eat per day, and that will help you split up the protein intake throughout the day. All right, so the last and final point, so tip number 5 is to choose your favorite protein sources. So after we put everything together and we've calculated everything, the easiest way to hit those macros on calories and protein is to figure out what your favorite protein sources are and implement those into your diet. Some examples of my favorite protein sources are egg whites, Greek yogurt, obviously some protein powder just as like a last resort if I have trouble hitting my protein for that day. Cottage cheese I like. That's something that not a lot of people like, but I do enjoy it just plain or with crackers. And then for like whole foods, chicken, beef.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili. Wow.
And then if you want like tofu or something, that's also a very good option. But like for example, I'll make a smoothie with like a scoop of protein, plain Greek yogurt, and then at the very end, I'll usually put in like a 1/4 cup of egg whites that you don't even taste. And that adds like, I think 12 or something grams of protein. So the actual shake itself has like 50 grams of protein. And that's so easy to drink and so easy to get down. And just like for dinner, sometimes I'll just have like a whole steak, which is like 300 grams. And then that pretty much just leaves like one other meal, which for lunch, sometimes I'll do like chicken with little tortillas, or I'll just do chicken and rice. But I think that's kind of the most sustainable way to actually stick to a diet. If you can just kind of plan it out the way that I've told you to, and then choose your favorite protein sources that are obviously fairly clean, I think that will help you stick to the whole diet itself, and it will allow you to actually do it for the long run and not just something you're going to do in like a month or two and then give up because you just can't stand it anymore. So if you guys think you want to see like a future video on meal prep ideas, let me know and leave your comments down below, because Jesse and I would love to show you some examples of foods that we eat to help us stick to our diets. And you know, there's some really simple yet tasteful ways to hit your macros without being too strict and too boring. So let us know in the comments below if that would be something you want to see. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I didn't want to make it too long because I know that this is something that can get complicated, but I wanted to simplify it for you. If you like what you saw in the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.